In February, we talked about Sidney Poitier, Cicely Tyson, George Washington Carver, Phyllis Wheatley, the start of the Black African Methodist Episcopal Church, and we heard from Pastors Ben and Wanda Anderson of Solid Rock Christian Center. Today, I want to summarize some living leadership legacy lessons from these leaders. Sidney Poitier, Cicely Tyson, and George Washington Carver all had to leave home to fully realize their dreams. Sidney Poitier left the Bahamas and then Miami. Cicely Tyson left her New York City apartment and traveled by subway to sit on steps to hear concerts planned for white children. As a child, George Washington Carver walked 10 miles from Missouri to Kansas to get a better education. Both Sidney Poitier and Cicely Tyson dedicated themselves to acting in roles consistent with their values. They said no to roles inconsistent with family values and the dignity and future legacy of African American people. Cicely Tyson paid careful attention to her physical body and lived a life free of alcohol, tobacco, drugs, and meat. George Washington Carver met with God in nature's cathedral to pray and seek God's wisdom, counsel, and direction. Poet Phyllis Wheatley used her gift of writing to both commend and challenge leaders in the U.S. and Europe. The first official Black church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, was started out of necessity to provide a place for Black people to worship with dignity, receive education, personal development, and leadership opportunity. Pastors Ben and Wanda Anderson of Solid Rock Christian Center in Colorado Springs use their gifts and talents to partner with their community to provide spiritual and physical food, affordable housing, entrepreneurial careers, and wealth creation. So here are my questions for you today. What are you willing to give up in the short term to gain God's best in the long term? What steps are you willing to sit on to hear music for your next life chapter? What will you sacrifice to daily meet with God and get His guidance? What workplace of dignity are you prompted to create for the nurture and development of others? What are you feeding the multitudes around you? What physical and spiritual food do they need? How will you use your voice and brilliance for the glory of God? How are you taking care of your body, the temple of God, the food you eat, sleep you get, exercise, lifestyle? Let's all benefit from the wisdom and experiences of those who've gone before us to create a living leadership legacy. In the words of the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 3:6, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase.